My sister raided my 7-year-old daughter's savings jar and used the money on flashy gifts for her own kids. They deserve it more, she told my daughter. My parents sided with the sister. I didn't make a scene. I did this. 3 hours later, her life started falling apart. The week before the family reunion, I'd noticed my daughter Hannah acting off. She was quieter, clutching her little savings jar more than usual, as though afraid someone might take it. I thought it was just a phase. Kids get strange attachments to things. I had no idea what had really happened. So when I walked into that barbecue on Saturday, I thought the worst thing I'd face was my dad burning the burgers. I didn't realize I was stepping into a performance. My younger sister, Trisha, had always been the dramatic one. But this time, she outdid herself. She called everyone over, as if she were hosting a press conference instead of a backyard cookout. I stood to the side with my husband, Neil, balancing a paper plate, wondering what on earth she was up to. And then she started handing out gifts. Not the kind of little trinkets you give as a hostess gesture. I'm talking about flashy gifts, the sort she had no business affording, a pair of brand new sneakers for her son Logan, a shiny tablet accessory for her daughter Stella. Things that made people gasp and whisper. I felt my brows knit together. Just a month ago, Trisha had been calling me in tears because she couldn't pay her bills, and now she was parading around with shopping bags like she'd won the lottery. Neil leaned toward me and murmured, "Since when can she afford all this?" Good question. And then came the part that made my stomach turn. She gave something to Hannah. A neatly wrapped little package, delivered with a smile so sweet it made my skin crawl. "Something for my niece," she said loudly, making sure every relative heard her. Everyone turned to look at my daughter. Hannah accepted the gift but didn't tear it open like her cousins. She just set it on her lap, small hands smoothing the paper, her eyes fixed on the grass. I leaned closer. "Go on, sweetheart. Open it," I whispered. She shook her head, lips pressed tight. A chill crept up my spine. But before I could ask her anything, Trisha wasn't done. She pulled out one last envelope and handed it to our parents, Mom and Dad, with a flourish. "A spa day for you two," she announced. "Massages, treatments, the whole package." The crowd gasped. My mother's hand flew to her chest like she'd just been crowned queen. My father grinned like a man 10 years younger. Whispers stirred around the picnic tables. "Where did she get the money?" "She's usually strapped. Maybe she got some big windfall." Mom leaned across the table, eyes shining with pride. "We're so proud of you, Trisha," she said. Proud. Of her. I felt heat creep up my neck. Because, of course, right on cue, Trisha turned to me. "And Andrea," she said, tilting her head. "What did you bring?" Every conversation stopped. All eyes landed on me. I opened my mouth, closed it again. The truth? I'd brought nothing. I'd been told not to. Trisha herself had said, "Don't bring gifts, Andrea. Just come." Well, I stammered. The silence was brutal. A cousin raised an eyebrow. Someone whispered, "Isn't Andrea the one who helps her out?" My cheeks burned. My pulse pounded. And across the table, Trisha leaned back, a satisfied little smirk curling at the corner of her lips. She had orchestrated all of it. And Hannah, my sweet, usually bubbly Hannah, sat frozen, clutching that package like it weighed 100 pounds. Something was wrong. I could see it in her eyes, the way she shrank in her chair while Logan and Stella flaunted their sneakers and toys. At the time, I didn't know yet where Trisha had gotten the money. But once I found out, she learned fast what happens when you come after my child. 3 hours later, her life started falling apart. If you'd only seen the barbecue, you might think it was a one-off. One bad day, one flashy stunt. But you'd be wrong. That day wasn't an accident. It was the natural endpoint of something that started long before Hannah was even born. Trisha was 3 years younger than me, and from the day she arrived, the rules were different for her. When she took my toys, Mom would smile and say, "She's just little, Andrea." Be the bigger sister. When she broke my things, Dad would shrug and say, "You've got to look out for her." When she whined, she got. When I asked, I got told to wait. That's how it went. And it didn't stop when we grew up. Trisha carried that entitlement into adulthood like it was her birthright. She'd call me, out of breath with fake urgency. "Andrea, my card declined at the grocery store. Can you Venmo me just $60? Or, "I need your credit card number just to order the kids' clothes. I'll pay you right back." She never paid me right back. And if I dared to question her, she'd play the same line I'd heard since childhood. "You earn more than me. You can afford it." You'd be amazed how many times I fell for it. Maybe out of habit, maybe out of guilt, maybe because after years of being told I was the responsible one, I believed it was my job to keep her afloat. It even showed up in how we parented. Trisha was always showy with Logan and Stella. New gadgets, sparkly clothes, brand name sneakers, anything that made them look good in front of other people. I chose differently for Hannah. Neil and I wanted her to learn the value of money. From the time she could count, we taught her, spend a little, save the rest. Whenever she got cash gifts, from Neil's parents, from birthdays, from Christmas, we'd let her pick one small thing and put the rest in her jar. Half to spend, half to save. That was the rule. Hannah loved it. Sometimes she didn't spend anything at all. She'd tiptoe into the kitchen with her envelope and beam as she fed it into the jar, proud as if she'd won a prize. By 7 years old, she had $1,651.26 saved. She could tell you the number down to the penny. She was so proud of that jar that she sometimes bragged about it to her cousins. And that was how Trisha found out. So when Trisha showed up at the barbecue with her shopping spree haul, I should have connected the dots right there. But I didn't. Because there was another piece in play. Her dream. A year earlier, Trisha had come to me with her eyes shining like she was auditioning for a Hallmark movie. "Andrea, I got in," she whispered. "A school in London. Acting. This is my chance acting." Now, most people in our family would have laughed, but she didn't come to most people. She came to me. She told me she'd loved acting since childhood, that she'd given it up when she married young, that she'd been trapped in a life of bills and kids and never got to chase her dream. And then she twisted the knife. "You know, Andrea, the reason I've never had a stable career is because I never got to pursue what I'm passionate about. If I can do this, I'll finally be independent. I'll pay you back when I make it." I wanted to laugh. Independent. Trisha? But I didn't. Because for just one moment, I believed her. I thought maybe, if I gave her this chance, she'd turn things around. So when her husband Chad refused to fund it, "I'll cover the bills here, but I'm not paying for you to play actress in London," I stepped in. I pulled from my savings. I stretched my paycheck. I even dipped into the equity of our house. $40,000. I set it aside, in my name, for her tuition, housing, and those trips abroad. It wasn't easy, but I did it. Because I thought, if she succeeds, maybe it'll all be worth it. But gratitude isn't in Trisha's vocabulary. While she was in London, gossip bloomed back home. She left her kids behind. She's living it up abroad. "Andrea's paying for it all, you know." Trisha hated it. She didn't feel grateful that I was making her dream possible. She felt humiliated. She thought I'd made her look weak. So when she came home, she decided to stage her revenge. That barbecue wasn't about generosity. It was a show. Every flashy gift she handed Logan and Stella was her saying, "See? I provide for my kids." That package she pressed into Hannah's hands was her saying, "See? I even spoil my niece, and that spa day voucher she slipped to Mom and Dad, That was the cherry on top. See? I'm the generous one. I'm the success story. And me? I was left standing there with nothing, set up to look like the stingy sister. The whispers started before I'd even left the yard. Isn't Andrea the one who helps her? Funny how she didn't bring anything. And my daughter Hannah, my sweet, proud little saver, sat there holding a gift that had been bought with her own money. At the time, I didn't know it. But later, when I found out what really happened to Hannah's jar, I realized the truth. Trisha hadn't just stolen from my daughter's savings. She had stolen her pride. And once I understood that, there was no going back. Hannah had always been easy to read. She's 7. She doesn't have a poker face. If she's happy, her eyes light up. If she's mad, her whole body stiffens. If she's proud, she'll tell you exactly why. Twice. So when she took Trisha's gift at the barbecue and sat there like it was a brick in her lap, I knew something was wrong. No smile, no sparkle. Just a little girl shrinking into herself while her cousins paraded their shiny new toys around the yard. It wasn't like her, and when she quietly slipped away into the house, I followed. I found her sitting at the edge of the couch, clutching the package she'd been given. Her head was bowed, shoulders curled forward. I sat beside her. "Sweetheart," I whispered. "Are you okay?" Her chin trembled. "I don't want this," she whispered. Then she added words that froze me in place. "I just want my jar back." Her jar. I kept my face steady. "Why did you show her, sweetheart?" She said I was lying." Hannah's hands twisted in her lap. She said, "No way you have that much." I wanted her to see I wasn't making it up. I waited. Quiet. At first she smiled. Hannah's breath hitched. She said, "That's a lot of money, Hannah." "Good job." I thought she meant it. My fingers curled against my knees, but I kept my voice even. "And then?" "Then she said Logan and Stella don't have as much." That they need it more, Hannah's eyes flicked up, searching mine. I told her no. I said it was mine. But she leaned down and whispered, "Good kids help family. If you don't share, you're selfish." Her lip quivered, and when I still said no, she wasn't nice anymore. She said, "If you can't spend it, you don't deserve it. Your cousins deserve it more." The words spilled faster now, like she'd been holding them back too long. So I let her take it. All of it. Every dollar. And she told me not to tell you. She said if I did, I was turning on family. Her small shoulders hunched. She said I should be proud. But I wasn't. I felt wrong. And then I thought maybe I was bad for feeling bad. I reached over and pulled her close, smoothing her hair back, careful not to let my voice shake. Because what she needed in that moment wasn't my anger. It was my calm. I held Hannah until her breathing slowed, but inside I was unraveling. The audacity of it. The cruelty. To twist a child into believing she was selfish for wanting to keep her own savings. To make her feel bad for being sad. It was the exact same game Trisha had played on me my whole life. Guilt dressed up as virtue. Only this time, she'd aimed lower. And she'd hit harder. I didn't march outside and scream. I didn't flip a table or hurl accusations across the yard. I did what my parents had never done for me. I took my daughter's hand, found Neil across the lawn, and gave him a look. We left. No goodbyes. No explanations. Just silence. Let Trisha soak in her applause a little longer. Let her think she'd won. At home, Hannah set the gift down on the table with shaking hands. "It's not even my size," she whispered. "It's for Stella." Of course it was, because Trisha's generosity was always for show. Even when she gave Hannah a package, it wasn't really for her. It was a prop. The final insult. That night, after Hannah was asleep, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I opened the account. $40,000. That was the fund I'd built for Trisha's dream, the acting degree in London. The one I'd bled myself dry to finance. Years of saving. Even a chunk of our home equity. All so she could chase the fantasy she claimed was her life's passion. And this is how she repaid me. By raiding my daughter's jar and making her feel guilty for it. My hands hovered over the keys. Not with doubt, but with clarity. The fund was in my name but meant for my sister. So I transferred every cent back into my account. Then I removed my name from every tuition, every housing agreement, every paper I'd signed to help her. Silent, clinical, final. No message. No explanation. She'd find out soon enough. I closed the laptop and sat in the dark, listening to the hum of the refrigerator. I thought of Hannah, curled up in her bed, asking if she was bad for saving. And I thought of Trisha, smirking across the picnic table, daring me to challenge her. I had spent a lifetime enabling my sister, but the day she hurt my daughter was the day I cut the cord. For me, it was over. For her, the storm was just beginning. For a few days after the barbecue, there was silence. From the outside, it looked like nothing had changed. Family gossip spun its own story. Andrea must have stormed out because she was embarrassed. Poor thing. Trisha had outshone her, and Andrea just couldn't handle it. Let them believe it. Because the truth? I was waiting. Waiting for the moment my sister would finally notice that her lifeline had been cut. It didn't take long. The first text came on a Tuesday morning. "Hey, can you transfer?" Something's wrong with the tuition account. I stared at the screen. For years, I had dropped everything to bail her out, to send money, to cover whatever emergency she was in. This time, I typed back just one line. "It's not a mistake. I'm not paying anymore." No smiley face. No explanation. Just the truth. My phone rang 20 minutes later, Trisha's voice tight and high-pitched. "What are you talking about?" Did something bounce? "I'll fix it. Is this about the barbecue?" I almost laughed. About the barbecue? If only. "You know why," I said flatly. A pause. Then she tried a new tactic, voice dripping with mock outrage. "Oh my God, is this about the stupid jar?" "Andrea, are you serious? That was $1,600. I'll pay it back. It's nothing." "You stole from my daughter," I said. "Don't be ridiculous." Her voice sharpened. "I was teaching her to share." I hung up. That should have been enough. But Trisha never knew when to quit. 2 days later, she was on my doorstep. Her makeup was smudged, her hair pulled back in a sloppy bun. She had an envelope in her hand. "Here," she snapped, shoving it toward me. "It's the money." "Take it." I didn't move. "Don't give it to me," I said. "Pay her. And apologize." Her face twisted, but she shuffled into the living room where Hannah sat on the couch with a book. Trisha held out the envelope like it was a dead rat. "Here," she muttered. "Sorry." Hannah didn't even look at her. She took the envelope, stood up, and walked to her room without a word. The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. Trisha spun back toward me. "See? It's fixed now. She's got her money back. So, we're good, right? You'll keep supporting me." Her eyes were hopeful, as if handing back cash erased everything else. "That was for her," I said. "For you, it's over." Her face drained of color. "You can't do this. You can't just pull everything. This is my dream, Andrea. I can't finish school without you." I felt a laugh bubble up, bitter, humorless. "Your dream?" I worked for years to make it possible. I cut into my own savings. I even took from the house. And how did you thank me? By humiliating me in front of everyone. By making my daughter feel guilty for saving. That was the line, Trisha. And you crossed it. Tears welled in her eyes. Please, don't do this. I'll change. No, I cut her off. You won't. If you want to finish, pay for it yourself. This is where it ends. I opened the door. She walked out with shaking hands. The house was quiet after she left, but not peaceful. Neil found me in the kitchen, still standing by the sink like I was waiting for an alarm to go off. You okay? He asked. I nodded, though the truth was more complicated. For the first time in years, I felt lighter. The cord had been cut, but I also knew my family. Silence never lasted long. Trisha wouldn't accept no, not her, not with Mom and Dad waiting in the wings. And I was right. A week later, Mom and Dad showed up at my house. Mom's voice was sharp before she even sat down. Andrea, this has gone too far. Trisha just started her program. She can't continue without your help. Do you really want to ruin her future over a little mistake? A little mistake? My voice was calm, steady. She raided Hannah's savings jar. Dad waved a hand like he was brushing away a fly. That was just $1,600, and Hannah said yes, didn't she? She agreed. My hands tightened on the armrest. It was like being 13 again, hearing the same old script. She's younger, Andrea. Let her. Share. Don't be difficult. Only this time, it wasn't about a toy or a sweater. It was about my daughter's pride. She said yes because she was manipulated, I snapped. Because she was told if she didn't, she wasn't a good person. That's not consent. That's abuse, Mom frowned. You're blowing this out of proportion. Hannah needs to learn to share. No, I said, standing up. What Hannah needs is to know her boundaries matter. What she needs is to know I will protect her. That's my job, not making sure Trisha can chase a fantasy on my dime. They both stared at me, stunned. Maybe because for once I didn't cave. If you want to help her, go ahead, I added. Sell the house. Take out a loan. Write the checks yourselves. But I'm done. She will never get another cent from me. When they left, slamming the door behind them, I stood in the hallway with my hands shaking. Not from fear, but from release. For the first time in my life, I had stood firm against all of them. Fast forward a few months. I cut contact. No more calls, no more visits. My parents and Trisha became strangers. But news traveled fast through cousins and neighbors, and some people tried to call me, blame me. How could you do this to your own sister? They'd say. And I'd answer, plain as stone. She raided my daughter's savings jar. Silence always followed. Most people sided with me after that. At first, my parents tried to help her keep her studies afloat, but tuition in London isn't a couple $100s. It was more than they could manage, and soon they started struggling too. Bills piled up. Their savings dried out. And then came the real twist. Trisha's husband left her. I heard it through relatives. First, he'd found out about the jar. He couldn't stomach that his wife had stolen from a child. Then came fights about money. She'd tried to push him to hand over everything he had, even an emergency fund he'd inherited from his parents. He refused. The marriage cracked wide open. He filed for divorce. She kept trying to hang on to her program, but it didn't last. She never finished. Now, she's back in town, living with Mom and Dad, shared custody of her kids, no glamorous degree abroad, no stage lights, just a bitter custody battle and a regular job she hates, because if she doesn't hold it down, she risks losing her children altogether. And Hannah? She's doing fine. She's saving again. She knows now it's okay to say no. She knows her mom will protect her, always. She didn't lose her pride. She got it back. So what do you think? Did I go too far or not far enough? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more.